Eureka! You found us! Welcome to the Check Out California radio show, your key to California hospitality. Hosted by Rad Gantos, principal of Rad Gantos and Associates, a hospitality and commercial real estate design firm, and Craig Sullivan, executive vice president of Park West GC, a hospitality and commercial real estate general contractor. Check Out California is focused on our state's hospitality, travel, and tourism markets, and on the large part they play in California's vibrant and innovative economic diversity and unique quality of life. Now, here are your hosts, Rad Gantos and Craig Sullivan.
Good afternoon. I'm Craig Sullivan.
And I'm Rad Gantos.
And welcome to the last episode of Check Out California for 2018. And we've got a very special guest today, Mr. Dev Dugal from The Guestbook. Dev, welcome.
How are you guys?
We're great. Thank you for being here today. For the people out in our audience that don't know about The Guestbook, we want to dive into that. But first, I want to give them some of your background. And so if you could give us your history, and we can start the show off with that.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Once again, thanks for having me. And really enjoyed being here with you, too. And enjoy listening to the show on a consistent basis. Love the guests that you have. And so just excited to be part of it as well. But yeah, as far as me, been in hospitality for about 20 years.
It's in your DNA,
yeah,
like the rest of us.
Yes.
Right off the bat.
Definitely.
Right off the bat.
And, started as a bar back in the hospitality industry, worked my way up to finally being a bar owner. Okay. So I opened up a bar in downtown LA in 2006 with a business partner of mine called The Redwood. It's on 2nd and Broadway.
Broadway, yeah.
And had some great success with it. Was featured in a few movies, 500 Days of Summer,
yep.
Bridesmaids. And so we've had some really great success with the bar. I lived downtown for about 15 years, was a big advocate, and still a big advocate for downtown LA. And then, once we started growing our family, we moved to the burbs and got closer to our side of the family and our parents. So kind of transitioned out of the bar industry, transitioned a little bit into the restaurant space, to work with like the Mortons and the Pink Taco brand for a while.
There you go.
Managing some of their brand, restaurant, the Daily Grill concepts as well, working with that group. And then eventually found my way onto the hotel side of things and the hospitality side there as well. So my wife's side of the family, one of our uncles had a large development and management company based here in Southern California, and so I decided to join them. They were opening up the first 2 boutique hotels in Brooklyn.
Oh, wow.
Called Hotel Le Bleu and Hotel Le Jolie.
Okay.
And they were primarily brand guys and, Hilton and Marriott's, and didn't really know the landscape on how to service that particular type of guest in the boutique world. And so kind of came in and we kind of did the launches together and kind of worked on service and worked on really intimate details on digital marketing and technology and just kind of bring a unique experience to the guests. And so that's kind of where I started off in the hotel space.
Love it. Great story. Half of that, I knew that you lived downtown LA and you have been an advocate, and we've seen tremendous growth and change down there. So you're finally getting more than just LA Live down there. I mean, it took almost 2 decades to get a grocery store, I think, down there.
At least, yeah.
So,
I couldn't convince my friends to even come out in downtown. They would come to the Laker game and then get right back on the 110 and get out of there. And I'm just like, there's so much more to it.
Yeah, there is. And it's because of people like you that have helped that, come to fruition. Visual, it's a great thing. Tell us about the Guestbook.
Yeah, I'm really excited. So from when I transitioned from being on the management development side, had a really good chance and an opportunity to work for 2 years with the Broughton Hotel Group and Larry Broughton being the visionary that he is. And we really were able to grow that brand and really do some great work with Larry. And after that, I took some time off, kind of very similar to you, Craig. I wanted to kind of spend some more time with my kids. And so I kind of transitioned off and took some time away from the industry for a while and just wanted to be a stay-at-home dad and consult a little bit and kind of pay the bills, but just really be softball dad that drops off the kids and stuff like that. So I took a while off, started a nonprofit to build some schools in India and in the slums of India as well. But then I wasn't really looking for a job, to be honest with you. And I personally was booking a hotel for an upcoming stay in Vegas. And the hotel was unbeknownst to me, using the guestbook platform.
Okay.
And they were basically offering me a reward of cash back to book directly on the hotel site.
Yeah.
In exchange of not booking on an Expedia or a Booking.com.
Right.
And I'm sure you're familiar, but maybe your listeners aren't. But like from a hotelier's perspective, if a room is $200 a night and a guest books on Expedia, 20% of that goes back to Expedia.
Right.
So the hotel gets a very little portion of the actual revenue, whereas if you book direct, the hotel has more of a benefit there. And so they spend a lot of initiatives, as you're now seeing with Marriott and Hilton, to drive book direct initiatives versus on the Expedias and the Booking.com. So, so I was very enticed by this offering. And as a savvy consumer, I was skeptical at first, but I was like, this is a very interesting offering and reward. And so I fell in love with the actual platform, and I reached out to them and I said, what is this guestbook? I've got quite a few friends in the boutique space that could probably benefit from this. And got to meet the owners and the founders and really fell in love with them. So I was never really looking for a job, but I really love the people.
Right.
And so I really love Jim and Dana, the two co-founders of the guestbook, and so decided to join them.
What are the founders' full names?
Yeah, so James Gankos is one of the founders. He comes from a Starwood background. He was at Starwood for 12 years, ran Planet Hollywood Vegas, WS Hollywood, W Istanbul. So he's been in the ecosystem for a while. Little known fact about Jim is that Starwood started this whole program where if you don't get housekeeping, you can get points, et cetera.
Yeah.
That was Jim's brainchild, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, he started that in Seattle at the Sheraton. So.
And he worked that into the guest book with the cash rewards.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, if anyone understands loyalty, it's definitely Starwood. They're the pioneers in that space and did an amazing job alongside Kimpton and a few other brands. So Jim definitely comes from that background where understanding loyalty and rewards for guests and how important they are to the brand itself. And so Jim is one of our co-founders. The other Dana Moniker, her family was in the business for FIT, Group Travel. They had a company called Bonatel Exclusive Travel. So Bonatel was their family company. So Dana's family also was in the hotel business. So what I really, really love about the guest book and being with the team is that we're all hoteliers.
Yeah.
I've worked every line level position at a hotel. Jim and Dana were all hoteliers. So everything we do at the guest book is designed from the lens of a hotelier.
Insider. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, we're not just some tech jockeys that are just trying to figure out this vertical of hospitality.
Right.
We know hospitality. We know what
get it.
Yeah, we know what RevPAR is. We know what ADR is. We know how to read a P&L. So I think it's very valuable, and that's why significant amount of hotels gravitate towards what we do.
Yes. Well, I know when I was at Broughton Hotels, you were tied to all the hotels that Broughton manages, and it was a great platform, especially for the hotels in the Chicago market around in Wrigleyville. Because everybody was looking to book there for various games and everything else. And then it spread out to the rest of the hotels here in California. And I think the Park James is on there as well.
They are.
And, it was definitely part of the management strategy. And, if you have not been to the Guestbook website, please go. And that is theguestbook.com.
Right.
And not only is it a search engine for hotels and that are part of the program globally, it's also where you can make your reservation.
That's right.
And I got to tell you, I'm very impressed. I went back and looked at your website again this morning and, prepping for the show. And I'm going, this is fascinating. This, and when I was over at Broughton, I'd see the stats and see everything else that was coming in, and so I got familiarized with your firm, and we've known each other for a few years. And we keep bumping into each other, and you were at my first Click conference, and and it's been developing
into.
We just
saw him at another conference.
Yeah, the CLIA Expo So very proud of you guys. I mean, it's. You've had tremendous success. And you're in a growth mode. And how many hotels do you have globally now?
Yeah, so as of this week, we're just past 655. Yeah, and growing. And just to kind of further what you're talking about, excellent amount of growth for us in a very short amount of time. We're 4 years young.
Wow.
And continue to keep growing.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I think we're averaging about 3 hotels a week that are coming onto the platform. We're on pace, if not by the end of this year, definitely by Q1, we'll be the largest rewards platform for independent hotels in the world. We'll pass preferred hotels for the count of hotels that we work with. And it's not just the count, really, to be honest with you, Craig. It's the quality of hotels that we work with. Just amazing brands, individual brands, small assets, everything from an 8-room B&B in France to Treasure Island in Las Vegas at 3,200 rooms. It's great, and everything in between.
It's funny that you bring up France because Paris was one of the sites I was looking at, and I'm going, I got to stay here the next time I'm in Paris. So yeah, it's navigation of your site is a joy. It is really simple. It is literally just a click here, a click there, boom, and you're ready to go. On the tech side, you're constantly changing, constantly improving. What's on the horizon there?
Yeah, no, great question. So, the website is something that's going to be changing next year as well. And now, normally when you use a website to kind of discover hotels, of course, we do have the booking mechanism there, but the core ethos of what the guest book is to make a direct booking on the hotel's website. So we actually try to redirect all of the users back to the hotel's website. The core of our technology, and let's maybe go back one step as to what the guest book is. Ultimately, the guest book is a rewards platform for independent and boutique hotels. And our technology actually lives on their website.
Okay.
So the user that is discovering that particular hotel and then debating on whether to book through that hotel or through Expedia or Google Search or Trivago or any of these other websites that are out there, the reward itself provides a value for the guest to stay on the website and book direct. The average consumer's opening up 4 or 5 tabs on their browser, looking at TripAdvisor and a couple other things, and looking at the hotel's website for pictures. And if they're shopping for rates, the industry average is about a 3% booking engine conversion. Whether you're Marriott, Hilton, or the independent boutique down the street. And so our ultimate goal at the guest book and a data set that we've always been able to live up to is increasing conversion on the website for the hotel by 20%.
Wow.
That's huge.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, that's game changing.
Yeah, so we ultimately provide a data set for that. We do a 30-day test for every hotel where we're able to demonstrate their existing strategy versus ours. And in that 30-day window, we're able to kind of showcase that increase for the hotel. So now the data speaks for itself. And then we've just got a plethora of tools that we can also use in conjunction with that to bring more awareness. I think one of the most powerful aspects of our platform is that we actually welcome and want our brands and our hotels to stay true to their brands. So we let them do soft white labels on the program. So like the London West Hollywood up here in LA, they do the London Loyalty Program. It's their name, their brand. The Angelino does Inner Circle Rewards. Broughton Hotels is going to start with gratis. So we want them to drive awareness around their own branding and their own name, which they spend a significant amount of energy driving awareness around. And then we just let them use our technology behind the scenes. And all of our technology we own, so we can be fully customizable. We're doing some really creative things with like Sage Hospitality, Sadell Group, the Graduate Hotel Group. So brands that are continuing to evolve themselves, we're just right along with them, and we consider ourselves to be a hotel partner, not necessarily a vendor, because our entire initiative is to drive that awareness to them.
And it fits right in with their approach of sense of self as a boutique property.
That's right.
Right, is that you're basically providing them the backbone infrastructure, but you're on their your technology is on there, and you're private labeling it, if you will, with the name of a program.
That's right.
That's very smart.
Oh, it is. And, I know, again, when I was at Broughton in our team meetings, we were discussing the white label in particular and how we could, incorporate something that comes back to the core and the spirit of not only each individual hotel that we managed and celebrated in each area, but also back to Broughton Hotels as a whole. And, I like, your platform for a couple of really, I think, good reasons. One is the rewards program and the cash back. We all like rewards, okay? And I used to kid around at a lot of the different trade shows. somebody started talking about rewards programs, and I pull out my wallet, and I pull out an SPG card, I pull out a Hilton card, I pull out a Marriott card, I put out an IHG card, and it went on and on and on.
Yeah, sure.
And it was like a poker hand, here, and with this and your ability to service all of these independent and boutique hotels globally. I know you've got 6 on your website in Hawaii. Okay, come on, Aloha Craig. I'm going to go to Hawaii first.
Yep,
okay.
Yep.
And I'm looking at those hotels individually, and I'm going, wow, this is really great. And then I jumped across the planet and I went to Paris. So then I started roaming around Europe and looking at what you have there, and then.
Which is very common for people who are traveling out there.
Yeah.
And your focus is not necessarily regional. It's more, and consistency of service, consistency of quality of service delivery. I mean, that's critical.
Yeah, definitely. And for the hotels, what's really important is the fact that we handle all of this outside the ecosystem of the hotel.
Right.
One of the things as hoteliers designing technology is we actually designed the technology that you could launch it tomorrow without any front desk training.
Right.
We know that there's turnover at the front desk. We know that there's training that needs to happen. And so we've taken those into consideration when drafting the technology so that we can actually launch tomorrow with the flip of a switch.
Yeah.
Well, you've taken out the variable, right? The potential that you could have an off day at that front desk.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Or if a brand wanted to try to say, hey, we'll emulate this and do this ourselves. Well, it's great, but now you've got human capital.
Exactly.
Now you've got, the labor intensive. Who's going to handle the inquiries? I mean, there's a lot of energy. It's simple to say, hey, we're going to roll out gift cards tomorrow and get it done. But how do you do multi-currency around the world? How does a European traveler get it in euros? How do we do it in the yen? And so we've taken a lot of that into consideration in building out the platform and years of building out the APIs. And just to reiterate again, for the guest, the guests have the autonomy to decide what rewards they want. So it's 5% cash back after they complete their stay, or 5% to the charity or cause of their choice, which I personally love.
Right.
We have a full API built out with global giving, so if there's a heart-minded guest, they can give that back to charity or to a cause. And then coming in 2019, as far as a new launch we were just talking about, is we're actually increasing our third incentive, which is 15% trip cash, which is our guestbook currency, where you can use that 15% towards a future stay at any one of our properties.
Wow.
That's clever.
Yeah.
So what we're doing with that actually is by introducing a 15% offering, we'll actually be the most generous rewards program in the industry compared to all the brands.
Yeah.
Marriott, Hilton, IHG, Wyndham will be the most rewarding platform out there and most generous in the industry starting January 2019.
And your growth, in 4 years young, has been tremendous. And now with this addition to your rewards program, you guys are going to have a lot of sleepless nights. So
we'll take them for all the right reasons.
Absolutely. That's amazing. Now, with the guest book, where are you seeing the majority of your activity? Is it being bookings here in the United States, or is it Europe?
Yeah,
or Asia Pacific.
Yeah, great questions. Look, we're always going to have great experiences here in the U.S. from booking strategies and stuff. The international travelers still there's certain markets, like if you look in Southeast Asia, India specifically, a lot of these independent hotels out there, they just rely on the OTA. They don't even have websites themselves sometimes for the hotels. So the consumer has been so driven to those channels that the hotel is willing to use it as not only an exposure medium, but also for a booking medium, and they just consider them to be the booking pattern. Whereas the U.S.-based hotels, European hotels, Caribbean hotels, they're starting to really, in the last maybe 3 to 5 years, start focusing on book direct initiatives, realizing that
they're losing out a lot.
The OTAs, I mean, man, these hotels just have an unfair advantage. I mean, the OTAs hold no inventory. They're just a really big marketing company. And as in the last calendar year, I stopped calling them OTAs because I just consider them to be meta search engines,
So for those who don't know, what is OTA?
An online travel agency, right? So most commonly would be like your Expedia, Booking.com, Hotels.com, Orbitz. Internally we call them Bookopedia because it's just like this big old conglomerate of these online travel agencies, which do a phenomenal job
Right.
of educating the consumer on this is the best place to book.
Yeah.
And that's where we've been lax.
You know,
And
yeah,
we've given them way too much power.
that's right. And during those recessions after 9/11, I mean, a lot of the hotels had to kind of fill heads and beds and
Right.
utilize them for that. But you know, the day that
But there was a price that came with it.
that's right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's right. And,
And
so
we're
I
still
think,
paying that price.
Yeah, yeah.
and I think as hotels start to look at strategies that they can move the needle back in some way, shape, or form, we just want to be a part of that, right? And so ultimately, if we can move a few percentage points back from the OTA to the direct booking channel, the guest wins, the hotel wins, the industry wins.
Yep.
Well, if you look at your margins and you follow, what everybody's saying in the news, okay, RevPAR and ADR is we're not going to have the growth that we've had the past few years.
That's right.
So every dollar has now become more and more important.
Absolutely.
And going into next year, you've got to look at these things. You've got to take control of your own destiny. And that's the other thing that I like about your platform.
Yeah.
Me as being an independent hotelier, I can white label this. I can put it on there, and I can start generating revenue without huge costs.
Well, and that was I was gonna just add to that too, Craig. Is you hit on a very important point here? Is that it is with those larger conglomerate operations, you are so far removed from how that message goes out.
Yeah.
That you are at risk. You are no longer in control of your narrative. And if you are going to try to adjust something that is not correct or not maliciously done, but just not right, it's going to take you a lot longer to steer that big cruise liner than if you've got somebody that's receptive and you have a little bit, you're closer to the source. And that is critical. That could be like, a very serious situation for a small operator.
Yeah.
Now, do you
Or
come up
smaller.
with marketing campaigns as well?
I mean, we do. We are partners of the hotels,
Yeah.
so we really let them take the lead. We have, an entire toolbox of tools that we allow the hotels to play with for free as they wish. We give them best practices. So again, working with 600 plus hotels around the world, we've learned a thing or two from
Right.
other hotels.
Yeah.
And instead of trying to keep it in a silo, as most competitors do in a comp set, we just share it
Right.
because we think the industry, especially in the independent boutique side, everyone can learn from each other.
Right.
Sharing best practices is huge.
Yeah.
That's
Not-
right.
Not enough people do it.
That's right. And one of the core ethos that Jim and Dana have vowed to stay true to with the guest book from day one is to never do anything at the guest book that disadvantages one hotel versus the other.
Yeah.
So if one hotel, you're talking about marketing, if we're in New York City with our hotels and one of the hotels can have a marketing budget of $10,000 a month and the other one has $3,000 a month, you can just outspend them.
Right.
So it's like,
Yeah, you've got to have a level playing field, and you've got to have that trust, not only from the public, but from each independent hotelier.
Well, and them giving them the autonomy to the hotel and giving them the tools and best
Right.
practices, it puts the impetus on the hotel itself to drive its own narrative.
Yeah.
And they're just there in support capacity
Yeah.
with best practices.
Yep, and we have tools
Technology.
that they can use and leverage as they wish, and we educate them on things that we've learned from other hotels, and we really drive the awareness around the hotel, right?
It's
And
a
they
very
can kind of
respectful partnership, really.
Yeah, that's great. Can you talk a little bit about the tools that you're giving your clients?
yeah,
to help
absolutely.
them?
So we've got a really good like a slider tool on the homepage that slides out, which serves kind of three purposes. One, it's like an abandonment tool. This is actually our most popular tool. It serves as an abandonment tool. Someone tries to leave the website, it pops up. That's one. The second important reason to have it is that we've actually seen hotels that utilize it and have increased the amount of email captures by almost 10x,
Wow.
just by bringing awareness to the homepage. And then third and most important, the part that I love is that it allows the hotel to kind of do their own version of member pricing. So once the user puts in their email address, it'll drop them into the booking engine and give them like a private rate code that's kind of like fenced off and opaque from all the OTAs, so you can offer that one user a better deal and keep them on the site. So it's a really powerful mechanism.
That is.
We kind of took a lot of the tools that the OTAs are using against the hotels and kind of flipped them on their heads and kind of give that power back to the hotels. We've got another really amazing one that we launched early this year. We've got some great press around it. Condé Nast, LA Times, a handful of articles picked us up, Trip Tease. It's called Gopher, and you can go to joingopher.com. And Gopher is a browser extension. So if you're not familiar with a browser extension, it's like an app for your browser on the top right-hand side. And Gopher is an amazing, like, it's like built off the Caddyshack Gopher. Like, it's an amazing little, it's a fuzzy little friend. And the way that Gopher works, it's really powerful in the sense that when a user has Gopher loaded and they're shopping on any of these OTAs or meta searches like Google and Trivago and Kayak, Gopher is actually going to pop up and say, hey, look, Booking.com's rate's $200 a night. The Angelino's $190. Click here to get a better deal. And we'll actually take the user from Expedia and drop them right back into the hotel's booking engine. So really powerful mechanism for us to drive business back into the hotel's website from one of the channels that someone's already shopping on at the time of shop.
Wow. That is impressive.
Yeah, so we're just organically growing out Gopher right now. And the other cool thing about Gopher is that it works for every major branded hotel in the world. So we actually went to the heads of distributions for Marriott and Hilton, showed them Gopher. They loved it. We went to market earlier this year. And one of the coolest parts about Gopher, again, is that you can actually use Gopher to shop for your Marriott Hilton stay. Not only will you get your 5% cash back, you also get to keep your Marriott points. So double dip.
Double dip, yep.
Wow.
So just really powerful.
That's just phenomenal. I mean, I'm running numbers through my head right now trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
And while you're at it, here's something else. No, it's
absolutely. Hey, we're going to go to a commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to continue the conversation with Dev. And this is Check Out California.
When you use the Premier Rewards Gold Card from American Express, the rewards points can keep on multiplying. Buy 3 with triple points on airfare. Buy 2 with double points on gas and groceries. And a single point for pretty much every other dollar you spend on the card. Then, start choosing from over 1 million rewards to redeem all those points. Apply today and the annual fee for the first year is on us. Call 1-800-AXP-GOLD or visit axpgold.com. The annual fee for the card is $175. See terms, conditions, and restrictions at axpgold.com.
From Eureka to San Diego, from Malibu to Bakersfield, the California Lodging Investment Conference, CLIC, is a one-of-a-kind conference focusing exclusively on our Golden States hotel market. CLIC was launched in 2016 to harness the knowledge of our industry leaders, support our community, and educate emerging talent. CLIC brings together lodging professionals from California and beyond for one day of learning, professional development, and networking. If you're in the California hotel market or plan to be, you should attend CLIC 3 on March 7th, 2019 at the Westin South Coast Plaza Hotel. We invite you to check out the California Lodging Investment Conference website at cliconference.com for the latest details. Early registration now open, and as a listener of the Check Out California radio show, please make sure to use our exclusive discount code of CLIC, C-L-I-C, when registering for this one-of-a-kind California hospitality event that's sold out the last 2 years.
Welcome back. This is Check Out California. I'm Craig Sullivan.
And I'm Rod Gantus.
And we have Dev Dugal from The Guestbook in the studio with us live. Welcome back. Dev, thank you.
Yeah. And I have a question for Dev.
Perfect.
For those who are joining us now, we're talking about Guestbook.
Yep.
We're talking about all the amazing tools that it has for your clients to use to guide their narrative, to drive people to book through it. Why should the end user, the consumer, use Guestbook to do their bookings?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So we do have a Guestbook, theguestbook.com as a website that we have, and we primarily use that as a discovery platform. So normally, the majority of our guests that ultimately get involved and get a benefit from the Guestbook would actually not know that it's even us. Right. They're really booking on the hotel's own website. And so of the 650 plus hotels that we do work with, ultimately the way we work is kind of almost behind the scenes, right? It's a technology platform. The hotel themselves adds that technology to their booking engine, and we have integrations with the top 40, everyone from TravelClick to Synexus to ResTrip and down the line. And when you're shopping on the hotel's website and you get to look to see, hey, what are the rates for January 25th to the 27th? And the rates come back to you, right underneath the rate, our code, our one line of code, displays what the reward is if you book direct. And so throughout the booking process on the hotel's website, the consumer is actually educated on the fact, like, hey, if you stay here and book on this on this website, you have the potential to earn this much cash rewards.
Yeah.
And that's broken down into the 5, 5, and which will be 15. Right now it's 10. So the 5, 5, and 10. And ultimately, we show that. So in the booking process, it's not really a discount. And that's also another important thing to know is that we're not really offering a discount. So from the hotel side, you know, when you offer a discount, you offer it to 100% of the people that come. No one's going to pay bar, or no one's going to pay a higher rate than what you have on the discounted rate. But with the reward, what's really unique about it, so we say that discounting is like the shotgun approach to revenue management, whereas rewarding is a very rifled approach. So you're only rewarding the guests that ultimately care about it. And so it's really powerful there. But for the guest and the consumer, ultimately what they're doing is they're deciding that they want to stay in Venice Beach, and they're looking at a few hotels, and they're looking at some TripAdvisor reviews, but they're really looking at this hotel's website saying, this is a pretty cool hotel. And the rate normally without the reward would be $150 on the hotel's website, $150 on Expedia. And ultimately, consumer behavior has shown that you rather just book, if it's the same rate and you're not getting a better deal, you rather just book with the name that you recognize. And, you know,
the brand recognition. On
a flight from LA to New York, I'm hit with 5 Hotels.com ads on a JetBlue flight. I'm never hit with the London West Hollywood ad on the TV, right? Or any of these hotels. So it's a big disadvantage, right? So if I'm a consumer, I'm the average consumer, I'm not a hotelier, I'm just an average consumer that's coming on vacation, I'll probably just book with a brand that I recognize, that I've seen commercials for, that I know my friends book on. But if a hotel is able to offer, in this instance, a reward for actually, to the guest, to book direct, now you've got something that actually makes sense. And the user themselves, I was one of them, was enticed enough to say, yes, that offering is good enough for me to book direct because I feel the value is there. And the reason why cash back is so powerful versus some of these other platforms that are point-based, look, points are dead. Okay, unless you're part of a big ecosystem like a Marriott or a Hilton, where you have thousands of properties to go use those points at, you may only be coming to a market like France you were talking about, or Hawaii, once a year or twice a year. So accumulating points at, you know,
doesn't make any sense.
At one hotel in Hawaii, where you may not visit for a couple of years, does not make sense.
It's like foreign currency that's left in my pocket after I'm back on a trip.
That's right.
Exactly.
It ends up in a drawer, and I'll use it next time. And that never happens.
It never happens.
So we've come to the conclusion that just points don't work. And so that's why the Guestbook has been a really powerful platform for guests, because the credit cards in the last couple of years, in the last 5 to 7 years, have done a phenomenal job on shifting behavior, not only from points. They've all gone to 1%, 2%, 3% cash back. And so when you ask guests, you know, do you understand what cash back is? They're like, yeah, I know what cash back is.
Yeah, they've already been educated.
Right? And they can do the math really quickly that, 5% of my pocket of my stay? Yeah, I like that. I'm in. Sign me up. And so we just make it really seamless throughout the booking process. And the guests, we communicate with the guests once they make the reservation. So, you know, on a $200 a night stay, we say, hey, your pending rewards is $10 or $20 towards trip cash. And they see that throughout the process before they even come to the hotel. And when they complete the stay, hey, you've earned your $20. How would you like it?
Well, it sounds like for going forward, you're basically giving them an opportunity, a wider opportunity to apply that to anything.
That's right. And so they predominantly, again, the 5% cash back can be earned via PayPal, which is our #1 selection of choice. And we do PayPal in all major currencies around the world. Or they can do an e-Visa gift card or MasterCard, or they can select from any major retailer, iTunes, Starbucks, Amazon. And we've been doing Bitcoin since 2013 as well.
Wow. Okay.
So, you know, we give them the options on what they want. Again, giving the autonomy and the power back to the guests versus saying, oh, here's 100 points.
So that's funny. So I book with the system, I get cash back, and I basically get paid for it by Bitcoin.
You can.
You can.
So that's a great way to get into Bitcoin.
You sure? If that's what you like, depending.
I'm just curious on that. Just on a side thing, how much activity do you see with that?
It's, you know, when there was a big buzz, you know, late last year, we actually saw almost like a redemption a day using Bitcoin.
Wow.
But obviously that's tailed out, you know.
Right.
The majority of folks will just take it via PayPal.
But what it shows me is actually that you are attuned enough to know that there's certain people's behavior patterns are where they have a value, reward, and attachment to the Bitcoin at that moment when they're focused on it. And so why not basically give them that opportunity? That's very smart.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of like the ecosystem and what it looks like from a consumer standpoint. Ultimately, the traveler will just see it on the hotel's website. and we offer the reward. And for executing all that, we take care of all that for the hotel. And it's very powerful for the hotel, and it's very rewarding for the guests. Don't forget, all of these channels that we're talking about earlier, they have a rewards component. So if you go book on Expedia, you get points.
Right.
If you book on Hotels.com, it's every 10th night free. If you book on Orbitz, it's cash back. So how does an independent boutique, 120 rooms, compete against this multi-billion-dollar marketing engine?
You gotta have a similar offering.
That's right.
Or better.
And so we try to fill that void.
There you go. There you go. Now, we were talking earlier before we got on the air. Let's leave California for a minute.
Okay.
Let's go to the Caribbean.
Sure.
Okay. Obviously, they've had their share of problems the past couple of years. And every week now, I think I'm reading about a new property that is back in operation. It's been fully renovated and ready to go. That's got to be a tremendous growth area for the guest book. I've got to figure they're looking at trying to maximize every potential guest stay possible and pulling in as much revenue as possible and not splitting it with the OTAs and going from there. So how's your growth been in the Caribbean this past, say, 6 months to a year?
Yeah, great question. So it's been phenomenal. Just a short answer there. We've slowly grown out exposure about the guest book in that market region, including Mexico as well. I want to say we got about 24 hotels in the Caribbean on our platform at the moment, everything from small to large. Dominican Republic, actually, maybe 36 by now. I'm just doing the math in my head. Dominican Republic, Jamaica, we're starting to get into like same rate, as the market's coming back online, the hurricanes that have come through the marketplace. But it's a really interesting dynamic, and these hotels and resorts are, I learned something new actually in the Caribbean. How they actually formulate things is that they always sell a lot of air and hotel packages. Right, especially to get to the Caribbean, you've got to focus on air, and so they're trying to package in the air and the hotel. So it's a really interesting marketing dynamic versus just trying to sell Vegas or New York City.
Or California.
Or California, But no, the growth's been great. We've got some amazing properties down there. Everything from 5-star luxe to the 4 stars that are just crushing it. And the feedback from the hotels has been equally important, where they're saying, the guests are saying, communicating to the hotels directly, like, hey, I booked because I'm getting a reward. And those ADRs are much higher, right? And so for the average night of stay, when you're looking at a couple $100s, that's also a larger reward for the guest. All right. And so the hotels are winning because they're saving on the commissions, like we talked about earlier, and the guests are winning because they get it back in their pocket. So yeah, definitely Caribbean's been a great market for us for growth with the hotels that we're working with. And
I'd say right now, because you've got all the snowbirds coming down
from
Canada and the Northeast out of the United States. I always use Minnesota as the dividing line. You can take that line all the way up through Canada and all the way down, and you're either going to go to Florida and the Caribbean, or you're going to come to California and Hawaii. So now, and you're right. I think it's very interesting how they're also packaging up airfares, because every time I've gone, it's like, okay, I've got to get to Miami or possibly Houston, Dallas, and then grab a flight and go to Jamaica or Puerto Rico or some other place. So I think that's phenomenal. What kind of growth are you anticipating out of the United States for next year? Because we've got a record number of hotels in the development pipeline right now, and we're well over the 7,000 mark that we had 3 years ago when I first launched Click. And as we get closer and closer to that 10,000, granted, a lot of this is in the select service market and it's going to be branded, but still, you've got a lot of soft brands. You've got one that just opened up down in San Diego. You've got a couple of things coming up in the Bay Area, Sacramento, Los Angeles, of course. Orange County's got a ton of stuff. You can see the cranes over by Disneyland. So what are you seeing there for California?
Yeah, in terms of California specifically, it's been great. We just we had a great dialogue yesterday with a group out of San Francisco. They've got a few assets as well that we're looking to bring on board in 2019. Last week we signed up a new hotel near Disneyland called the Clementine. Another
I saw that.
Property.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So, one of the greatest things that we're doing right now is the established management companies that we're working with in California. So, Broughton Hotels we already mentioned, Interstate Hotels, Pacifica Hotels, Evolution Hotels.
And a few of those are sponsors of Click.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so all great brands, and those brands themselves are also growing, right? So as we start having the implementations with these groups, as they launch new hotels, they've seen the success at the rest of the portfolio. So it's been kind of like a no-brainer for them to continue adding hotels onto the platform. Wow. And so, yeah, we're growing with the companies that we're already working with and the hotels that we're working with. There's still much to be explored, you know, not only just in major markets, but tertiary markets that have independents. Yeah. Quite a few of them are going soft brand, right? And so we don't really necessarily work with hotels that are in soft brands that we're like with Marriott or Hilton, because they already have a rewards program, and it would be counterproductive at the end of the day, right? But there's still plenty of opportunity in California. Yeah. We feel like San Diego, much more in San Francisco that we're going to be working on this year. Another powerful aspect that helped us kind of put us on the map as well in September is that TravelClick, right before they got bought out by Amadeus, actually selected the Guestbook as their exclusive partner in rewards and loyalty. And so, you know, with nearly a couple thousands of properties around the world, that really put us on the map to saying, like, you know, this CRS provider has said, like, you guys are doing a phenomenal job. You guys are doing great. They kind of gave us the blessing, and just, you know, the pipelines have been great.
Well, very well deserved. I mean, that, I have a question, Dev, on your involvement with properties. Craig mentioned that, you know, like in the case of the Caribbean, there are properties that are coming back online daily, you know, like that they've been offline for a while. When you guys are looking at it, do you have a particular profile that you prefer? Like how early do you want to get involved? Can you bring more to the table by getting involved early? And this is more for the people that are listening that maybe are on the operator side or that are in development right now. Yeah. Because sometimes these decisions get pushed back, and sometimes opportunities are missed by not bringing it early on. So what is your preferred mode of operating or teaming up with these properties? Yeah.
So that's a great question. Look, at the end of the day, we're a hotel partner, right? We want to align with the existing strategy that they have in place. We've seen great success. Park James is a good example of that. Park James just came on board, but we got involved prior to their coming online. And so, you know, if a hotel is slated to open up March 1st, you're starting to sell inventory 90 days out. And so the hotels that we work with, Charlestown Hotel is also another good group, a great group that we work with on the East Coast. As they start launching assets, we're involved in the early phases of it. So like the Fairlane in Nashville did phenomenal when they came on board early. And it's really in that early phase prior to launching an asset that you're really looking at, how do I get exposure? How am I getting people to my website? You're starting to organically build some traffic to your website, but that traffic's not necessarily booking. So that's almost equally important as to when you need to get people enticed to actually give them a reward. So as far as the life cycle is concerned, look, we'd love to be involved as soon as possible and be a part of the larger strategy. It doesn't mean that we're the only strategy, but we can complement all the existing strategies that they have in place when they're pumping dollars into SEO and PPC and all those keywords that we like to use, those fancy digital marketing words. But we're really, you know, we live at the intersection of revenue management and marketing. And from an operational standpoint, we're really simplified. And for a hotel, you know, a lot of the hotels refrain from bringing on technology partners or vendors because of the concern of being stuck in something that doesn't work. From a hotelier side,
and there's a lot out there that is basically mediocre at best, but it's basically pushed with great collateral material.
Yeah, well, that not only that, but once you sign up, you're stuck. And I think, again, another valuable aspect of what our founders had the mindset to think of early on is, look, we don't have a setup fee. We don't have a contract. We don't hold you hostage to anything that doesn't work for you. Like, we work directly with the hotel to say, hey, if this strategy is working for you, let's keep it going. And if it's not, just let us know, and we'll take it off your website that day. There's no cancellation fees. There's no monthly fees. Like, it's strictly a revenue shared model, and the Guestbook only makes money after the hotel makes money first. That's the fairest way to do it, and that's what we've designed it to become.
I think getting in early enough, though, basically gives them, because, again, it goes back to that. If you're a new asset or an asset coming back online, you have an opportunity for that first impression, right? And so if you're pushing yourself as a boutique property and you basically position yourself as, you know, unique offerings, if you will, then having those pieces in place from day one versus adding them on later is going to give that impression that you're really working hard to do, that maybe already in your collateral material and your visuals, but it's that integrated layer of service for that end user experience. So that's why I asked that question, because it would make sense to me, like the Park James that you guys were talking about, is that really was part of that impression.
And when a hotel's first coming online or coming back out of something, the natural tendency is just to discount very heavily, right? Here's
right.
a 20%
Right, to
off.
build
Here's coupons. Here's 25%
Right.
off.
Yeah.
And we can only imagine what it does to the P&L, right? From a RevPAR standpoint,
horrible.
we did a whole analysis, a really interesting analysis for the Wynn Resorts in Vegas, where they've got this. Their strategy is this discounting model, and we did a really quick analysis for them, saying, "Hey, if instead of offering a 15% discount all the time, why don't you offer a 10% discount plus a 5% reward, which is what we offer, right? And 100% of the people will take you up on the 10% discount, but only 20% of the guests take you up on the 5% reward. So we brought down the cost of acquisition to the user to the hotel by almost 3 percentage points. Now, when you're looking at thousands of rooms a night at the hotel over the course of a year on just savings alone, those are some real zeros. Those are some real zeros there now.
Absolutely. I look at Vegas though, and it's a love-hate relationship. I think everybody's got that kind of love-hate with them right now. They're charging for parking, they're charging for everything. Resort fees have gone up. We've all got a mutual friend, Glenn Hausman, and Glenn and I are always on the same page on this. I hate resort fees and urban destination charges. There is no reason for them. None. Okay, you are baking your pricing. That's it. Okay, stop it.
Never was a good idea.
Treat your guests with a little bit more respect.
Sure.
And you know what? That loyalty comes back. Now, if I'm getting charged $50 as a resort fee, okay, and they're going, well, we got a spa and you could have used it. Yeah, but I didn't. It's
Sure.
like, it's an issue.
But I feel like some of that also comes, and I'm not saying this is the only reason, but hoteliers had to figure out a creative way to combat, again, these OTAs, right? So when you're paying a 20% commission to an online, like to an Expedia or Booking.com, what is another revenue source that those channels can't get? And so by charging a resort fee, that's money in their pocket. They can counterbalance and kind of hedge a little bit of what the cost of business is to get the exposure out.
But you're missing out on the ad
But they're
value.
passing it back to the guests. Unfortunately, the guests are smarter than the average bear.
And you know what? I get all that. I understand that. And you're absolutely right about that. It was just that our industry did a horrible job of accountability and taking care of its own. And with your system, that's an equalizer. And people can move forward. And they're going, yeah, I get cash back. Okay. I love it. And again, and I agree with you 300% that, points, I do not get cards for points. Okay. It's like, no, I've got one credit card will remain nameless unless they give us a commercial, and that's where I get all my reward points. Okay. And I can use it for air. I can use it for restaurants. I can use it for whatever I want. But
that industry had to learn the hard way too, right? I mean, they were too specific to what you could use it on, and then they had to open their doors. It's all about add value.
But I like what Guestbook brings, what the Guestbook brings to the table, and it helps that small owner operator. And and again, look, my crystal ball's got a crack in it, and it's in the shop. So I don't know where we're going to be at the end of next year. I listened to all the prognosticators, and
Fed's just raised the interest rate again today about an hour ago.
Trust me, I'm in the middle of a refinance right now on an asset, and it's like, no.
Exactly.
But you look at diminishing RevPAR. You look at slow to no growth in ADR. And now you've given the guest something, and it hasn't really cost the hotel a thing. And they've got all this goodwill without the OTAs. And I think that if you are an independent boutique operator, this is an equalizer for you. The Guestbook is the great equalizer that you're looking for. Now, all of us were just at the CLIA Expo. And that must have been a phenomenal day for you. You had roughly 500 plus in one room that you could get in front of and do laps and get all their contact information and start spreading the word as the song goes.
Yeah, I mean, since that was what, last Monday, I want to say.
Yeah.
That was the last
Couple
Monday?
weeks
No,
ago.
2 weeks
Mondays
ago.
ago, yeah.
2 weeks ago. Yeah, I mean, had a great meeting with Marin Management, another California-based company.
Yep.
We already brought on one of their assets in Silicon Valley, so really excited about that. Since that
Wow,
conference.
congratulations.
That's phenomenal.
Thanks. Yeah, the Maple Tree Inn just came on board early this week. And so, yeah, it was a great conference. We got to meet, reinforce our relationship with the existing hotel partners that we're already working with, reintroduce the platform as we're launching new tools and bring more awareness to these groups. But yeah, so just these kind of trade shows, the Click Conference, these are all great platforms for us to be at to get the word out ultimately about what we're doing, let hoteliers know that there is an option to help kind of put a dent in those OTA commissions. And that's what we're here for.
I love it. I mean, at some point after the holidays, I would really like for you to write an article, and we'll put it on the Click blog.
Okay, great.
Logo, color headshot, and you use as many words as you want. Okay, I'm not going to limit you to 200 to 500. You give me, and if you want to make it in 2 parts, because you want them to absorb, this big chunk up front, and then another big chunk a couple of weeks later. We'll do that for you as well.
Sounds great.
If the procrastinators, if the market really does have an adjustment, these are going to be really critical things, tools for people to have, because things are going to get tighter. The heads and beds is going to get more and more critical. The cost of operating as much streamlining as you can is going to be better. So having people that are partners that operate with this kind of culture internally and what you bring to the table, that's a game changer for people.
It's got to be part of your annual business plan. Everybody's huddled up right now, getting their plans together for each individual asset for next year.
Yeah, and we're actually launching another. I'm just going to announce it, but in 2019 January, we're launching the Guestbook Guarantee. We're promising hotels, and we know that we can deliver enough new network business to cover the fees that the hotel pays us.
Wow.
Or we will refund the difference.
That's huge.
I love it. Hey, another exclusive here on Check Out California. We love exclusives here. Thank you very much.
No, that's huge, and it speaks a lot to the confidence that you have in your system, and plus the track record that you're basing it on.
That's right.
That's phenomenal.
That is
Very few people out there basically will put themselves out that way.
Yeah, so we're really excited about it. We've seen all the data. The data supports itself, and we know what the cross-network effect has enough to bring, what really happens, and we've seen this time and time again. Someone stays at a hotel in New York, and that has the guest book. They've earned their 5% cash back. They're like, this is amazing. I need to go to my sister's wedding in Seattle in about a month. What other hotels offer cash back? And so now they're discovering other hotels. So the cross-network effect is there. Some other really cool, exciting things that we're working on is we're working on an integration with Concur. So corporate bookers can immediately earn the rewards by booking directly through Concur.
There you go.
We're doing a GDS integration right now with Lux Hotels and LE Hotel Group. So just some really cool stuff that we're working on that we take into consideration just outside the normal blocking and tackling.
Very good, man. I'm glad you brought up Lux Hotels because I need to get my room reservation for Alice. Are you going to be at Alice this year?
I'll be there.
Great.
For sure.
Very good. Hey, unfortunately, we are out of time. We need to wrap this up. I want to thank Dev for coming into the studio today and check out the guest book. Dev, give them your email address, website, cell phone, firstborn child.
How can people find out more?
How can they find you?
Yeah, look, you can always go to theguestbook.com. We have a really simple hoteliers page on there that if you want to learn more from a hotelier standpoint, please do just jump on that site and look at all the examples that we have there. You can always reach me at dev@theguestbook.com. Or reach out to any one of our team members. This is a team environment, so any one of our team can help, and we're happy to work with you. And if you're a consumer, just understand that Expedia and Booking.com are not always the best, and you should always book direct.
You have other options.
You should always book direct on the hotel's website, whether you use the guest book or not. It's in the best interest for you, and it's in the best interest for those small businesses and hotels that would love to welcome you inside the doors.
There you go. Very good. Hey, everybody, this is our last show of the year. It's been a phenomenal year. I want to thank my co-host, Mr. Rad Gantos and Associates, Park West General Contractors for being a sponsor. We will be back next year. We are going to have a new segment that's going to be part of the show, and it's going to be checking in with CBRE Hotels and Rad Apodaca. They're joining us for a few shows to bring up trends and what's exciting in the hotel market here in California. And welcome, CBRE Hotels. And we've also got Chicago Title Company coming on board as a sponsor as well.
Thanks to both of those. Yep.
Ryan Huntsman and Lance Capel over there at the commercial group here in Orange County. And they do national title and settlement services. So thank you guys all for being part of the show. As you know, Rad and I have launched some new twists and turns. Golden State Media Group is one of them, and they produce this show right now. And they are also producing The Rad Life and Rad's new show, Selling the Lux Life. And we have
exciting stuff coming.
Another show that we've got 3 shows in the can. That's a video streaming show only. And I'll be hosting Checkout California 3x10.
Great.
3 questions, 10 minutes. A deeper dive with one guest. And then we've got another show that we'll bring up next year when we're back. So everybody have a great holiday season. And thank you. Aloha.
Aloha.
Thank you for being our guest today on Checkout California. We look forward to having you as a guest with us again in 2 weeks. Until then, you can always reach us through our Checkout California Facebook page or by emailing us at checkoutcalifornia@gmail.com. We love hearing from you. So do let us know what you think of the show and what areas of interest you'd like to see us cover in the future. Your feedback is very important to us as we continue to bring you the best hospitality our Golden State has to offer. Until next time, may all your days be filled with sunsets and palm trees. Now, go experience and check out California.